Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And well, since I had previously done, after a rewatching of the original Battlestar Galactica, I did a review per episode and gave my thoughts of the overall of the series. Um, and I've mentioned it quite a bit that that series is very, very near and dear to my heart. Came out in 1978. I was like 2 years old, probably not even two at the time when they actually did premiere. But I watched it in reruns from the age of 4 back in 1980, and I watched quite a bit. That show has been a big part of my childhood till now, and I love that show quite a lot. Unfortunately, it got cancelled, and then they made Galactica 1980, excuse me, post dinner burps. They made Galactica 1980, which was really bad. There's no looking at it. There are a couple of things that I do love about that particular show. I think the first three episodes, which are kind of like a pilot in itself, it was okay. And there's a double episode which is actually kind of decent, and then there's the final episode which was pretty much awesome and heartbreaking and all that stuff. So. Because of the popularity of that particular show among science fiction aficionados, it was inevitable that sometime down the line the show would get rebooted, right? So in 2003, post 2001 September 11, it's an allegory for that particular show, particular event. Sorry, the show is an allegory for that, and certain things about it they have actually taken the themes behind it. Anyway. So Ronald D. Moore, and who's previously worked on Star Trek, especially Deep Space Nine, but also TNG. He and his partner Michael Reiner, I think that was the guy who actually was working with him. They came up with the concept of a 3-hour mini-series, a pilot to Battlestar Galactica rebooted. It would be much more darker. It would be much more I would say more realistic in the fact that some of the technology, the things would actually be somewhat if like a more advanced human race, or more advanced American race, or let's say North American, because a lot of Canadians in the show. If they were to actually, if this were to actually happen to them, some of the technology you see is pretty much the same. What the clothes that they're wearing. Cigarettes, cigars, all those kind of things are pretty much the same. I mean, cigars are also there in the original show, but they do take in some of the mythology from the original series, and then they bring into this. So I did sit down and try and rewatch them. I've watched the show, I think, a total of 3 times, so this would make it number 4. It took me a long time to actually get into this show. Because of the fact that I did not like the changes that they made to the characters and the way that they were going. And it took me a while. I think back in 2011, I had torn the ligaments of my right leg in a little bit of a home accident that usually happens to me. And I was kind of laid up for a while, maybe about 10 days or so. And I was given the DVD. Given the DVDs as a like get well soon kind of thing from a friend of mine, and then I watched that the first time. Then I found it on a streaming service. I have watched it twice since then. So this time on the DVDs, excuse me, I did watch it for the first time on my own stuff. So. The mini-series, this is a second-hand purchase that I made recently off eBay, finding it very difficult to get this at a decent price, so that's why I went with a second-hand thing. But this is definitely an amazing mini-series. Let me tell you, despite the flaws that I see in the show, overall, some people may not find them to be flaws, but I do think it is. There's some of the things that actually piss me off quite a bit. But yes, this is the show that we are going to talk about. So the changes made is that, some of the things are similar. So humanity evolved on a planet called Kobol, just like in the original movie, and then they, it's a multi, what do you call that? Multi-deistic religion, multi-theistic religion, or whatever you want to call it. They finally went for some reason, which they later do explain, but initially what we get to know is that Kobol became uninhabitable. I mean, became a little less supportive of human life on the planet, so they had to leave. They left. They had developed space traveling technology, so they left on. They left in 12 different tribes basically, and they left Kobol to go and settle on 12 colonies far off into the or another distant part of the galaxy, and another star system is what I was thinking of. And then they settle. Their life is pretty much okay for the most part, except for a couple of outer planets where the colonies where they do struggle for money and things like that. But planets like Caprica and Tauron, they are basically like capitalistic, wealthy planets and all that stuff. So over a period of time, I think several thousand years later, they develop robot technology, and then the robots kind of become sentient. They as advanced as they are built mainly for war, the Cylons. So this is the difference that is there from the original series. So I'm going to stop comparing what's there from the original series and this. I'll put a couple of things in another video later. And so the Cylons were created by man, and finally what happens is when they reach a particular stage, they start rebelling against the human lords, and then because they've reached that level of AI, and then there is an all-out war. The Cylons create their own army and fleets and all that stuff, and there is a huge war. Sometime during the war, 40 years before the events of this particular mini-series, there is a sudden ceasefire by the Cylons for nobody. The humans don't know the reason why, but they are stopped all of a sudden. They're all recalled back, and they declare an armistice. As part of the armistice, in a show of goodwill, the humans create a small space station on a neutral location, where every year they send a representative from the humans to go and meet a representative from the Cylons in search of coming to an agreement for several things and making sure that peace prevails. But for 40 years, the Cylons have not been seen or heard of. In the beginning of the mini-series, the event who's a general or something like that in the army, maybe a major, I don't know, he goes there, he sits there, and all of a sudden he sees two more highly evolved Cylons coming out, which is basically CGI, and then a woman coming out. So he doesn't know this at that point in time, but Cylons have since developed biologic advances. They can actually mimic humans. So it's very difficult to actually find out the difference between a human and a Cylon skin job for the derogatory term that they actually use. And then they destroy the particular space station on Caprica, which is the main planet. They using one of the six, she is known as a six. So let me tell you about the Cylons. The Cylons can actually, they have 12, or rather at that particular point in time, they have around 7 known human versions, and each has got copies. So if there is Caprica, or 6 as she's called, played by Tricia Helfer, if she's got multiple copies and each one has got a different personality, maybe even hair color different and all that stuff. But if you kill her, her memories is downloaded into one of their hubs, and she gets downloaded into a new body, retains all the memories, and she can basically go through and continue on. So although I've been told it's a very painful experience. So that's what basically happens. They have infiltrated the human colonies, and she seduces Baltagais, who is a well-known scientist and personality, and I use a personality, and seduces him with sex, and he lets her gain access into their defense system, on the pretense of actually looking out for some other programs. He doesn't suspect of anything. So when the Cylons do attack, the defenses are down. Basically, the colonies are destroyed, nuclear weaponry. So the humans are the population is completely decimated except for small pockets throughout the planets, and the all the what do you call it? So humanity's defenses are all these starships and the battle stars. They are also, like, because of the computer technology that they have, they infiltrated it and they destroyed. All of them are destroyed except for one, which is the Battlestar Galactica, because she does not have the same. She's a very old ship. She's about to be retired, and she doesn't have the same systems as of the other ones. So she is able to be able to escape. The ship is able to escape. She is headed by Commander Adama, and then of course you have all the people in it. So it's very difficult to actually go through this, go through the review of this. Anyway, so with the majority of humans destroyed, all the surviving humans are asked to get onto any ship that can carry them. Very similar to the original ones. I said I'll stop. I said I'll stop saying that, but it just came back to me, and they find out that, because there are some political parties as well on the surviving ships. Laura Roslin, who is the Minister of Education, she is now, based on seniority, the current president of the United States, president of the United Colonies, and she is sworn in by oath to become the president. So around 50,000 plus people, including the soldiers, including all the Marines on the Battlestar and all the other ships, they are now on the lookout for to survive. So Adama says that one, they need to stock up on weapons. So there is a particular armory that's set in that's hidden in a nebula, where they can actually go and stock up on weapons, and they find another Cylon over there, played one of the Leovins, played by this is the problem. I keep forgetting all the actors. I'm also a little bit sleepy. By an awesome actor, of course, Callum Kitrechi, Leovin, Connoy, and so they learn a little. Adama is able to find a little bit details from him. So they know that Cylons have infiltrated the human population, and they don't really know who could be a Cylon. That is the main problem that they're going to face. So we have the surviving members of once a large, huge, proud race, now just down to a mere 50,000 going on these ships, and they're on the run lookout. So they don't know where they're going to go. However, Adama at a funeral says, you owe to everybody to survive. And the reason he says is there is a secret 13th colony which left Kobol, and that they've settled on a planet called Earth. The location is only known to a small select group of people, mainly in the military. Because they didn't want the Cylons to know where they were, and it's been kept a big secret. He's actually bluffing. There is a myth that there is a planet called Earth on which a 13th colony is supposed to have left Kobol and settled on, but they have never had any contact with the 12 colonies so far. So he basically tells this to keep their morals up and spirits up, because he knows that they need to go and survive, find some kind of hospitable planet, and then try and survive and repopulate the human race. That's basically it. And we do learn that there are there are a couple of people, like for example there is a lady called Boomer, who is a Raptor pilot. She is actually a Cylon, although she doesn't know it at this particular point. She's been programmed to forget the fact that she is a Cylon, so she lives on the Battlestar Galactica, but she is her sisters, what's it called, are on the along with the Cylons. So we definitely know that they need to find out that that there are more copies of the Psylocks, and there's much left to be revealed. So that's basically it. So now you have the surviving humans trying to find a way to Earth, and that will be the setting for the next 4 seasons of the show. So I've set up the entire thing. That's what I wanted to do. When it comes to, anyway, that's how the miniseries ends. My plan is actually to talk about each season, some particular points, and do reviews on that, and not the entire storyline. How I've been trying to do, trying to keep them more, discussion points rather than actually telling the story outright. Because this is a very famous show. I don't really need to tell you the story about it. So, and I'm trying to cut down on that. That's a bad habit, telling just the story. But yeah. Having watched it for the 4th time, let me tell you that this show is amazing. Amazing actors, and the look, the special effects, the way the galaxy looks, the way the planets look, everything is superb. A lot of excellent acting chops on show and all that stuff throughout the series. But for me, the biggest standout, although I didn't know it at that particular time, is one character. Can you try and guess who that actor and character is? There's one particular character who I felt throughout the show did a phenomenal job, and this particular actor or actress is my favorite on that particular show. At least according to me, did the best acting ability, and really stands out from everybody else. Try and guess who the person is. I will reveal it in the next one. Or maybe couple of editions outline. So that's it for the mini series. I am planning on doing one video for each season, and then for the 2 movies that came after that, as well as Blood and Chrome as well. But yeah, rating for the mini series. So as a show, I'll give a rating for the entire series at the end. But for the mini series as such, I think the way they've set things up, it is definitely a 9 out of 10. Yeah, being very. I think there's a lot of things that I do disagree with this particular show. Certain things I found very irritating, but not the miniseries. I think the miniseries was done amazingly well. So 9 out of 10 for me. Thank you guys, and have a good night.